Om Shuklam Varadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham karishyami siddhir me sada yenakshara samamnayam adhigamya maheshwarat kritsnam vyakaranam proktam tasmai paninaye namaha Vakyakaram Vararuchim Bhashyakaram Patanjalim Paninim Sutrakarancha Pranatosmi Munitrayam Vagartha Viva Samprikto Vagartha Pratipattaye Jagatah Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwaro Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om. Namaste, welcome. So far, right, we've been talking about our Panchavritti. So we saw the Sanadhyanta Dhatu Vritti. We saw a little bit more involved in there. We saw Sananta and we saw Nich Anta, Nijanta in that first section there. And then we started seeing Krit Vritti, right? So we're starting with Krit Vritti. So if you look down and below, we're talking about Kṛdanta, right? So what is a Kṛdanta? A Kṛdanta is a new Pratipadika, okay? These four, except for Sanadhyanta Dhatu, right? The rest of the four are going to make new Pratipadika. So we can start off with that. You know that's a new Pratipadika made by adding a Dhatu plus Krit Pratyaya. So it's a suffix to a root, which we make a new nominal base, right? That's another way of saying it. I started the other way. We're making a new nominal base by having a root plus a Krit suffix. So we get this action sense to it. The basic sense of any Krit Pratyaya, right? So there's a basic sense and there's an additional sense. The basic sense is just like what we would have in a verb. The Kṛdanta, or sorry, the Krit Pratyaya can denote one of the, right, we can see Karta, Karma, Karana, Sampradana, Apadana, and Adhikarana. Right? It can point to any of those. An additional sense is that sometimes there's additional meaning. So sometimes you get a sense of a tense, so when it happened, or the that it should, the necessity for it to happen, the fitness to happen, etc. So right, you get basic sense as a karaka, points to a karaka. And then additional sense, that second layer is that you get these extra meanings that come on top of it. So for example, right, we're seeing Krityaha, right? Krityaha. The basic sense of Krityaha is that it's going to point to a karma and the object of the verb. Sorry, not the object of the verb, the object of the Kṛdanta. So it's going to point to an object, and or it can be in bhave, right? It can just be the action itself. So karmani and bhave. And then we have these three types. We saw yat, kyap, and nyat in our last class. You can say that with me. Yat, kyap, nyat, yat, kyap, nyat. The content of those three is yakara. And now today we're going to see Tavya and Aniyar, right? Tavya, Tavya, the content is Tavya, and Aniyar, the content is Aniya. Okay. And then we'll see some sentences at the end just to pull it all together for this. So let me see where we are. Okay, so let's look at, so we saw a little bit in our last class, some of the ya, the content is ya. So we all saw those three. Now we're going to see Tavya and Aniya. So these are also called Kṛtya. These are also Kṛtya, meaning that the basic sense is that it's going to be karmani. It's going to denote a karma, an object of the sentence. And the additional meaning is going to be same as the other ones, that it should be done, or is fitness to be done, or it necessarily should be done, right? I think I said the necessary twice. What's the third one that I'm looking for? Yeah, sense of, we crossed out direction, but fitness, necessity, or capacity. Fitness, necessity, capacity. So capable to be done, necessary to be done, or fit to be done. Okay. The gender of even these new Tavya Aniya, it can be any three lingas, it can be any of the genders. It's determined by which the linga of the noun, which it qualifies. So we're going to see some sentences at the end, right? So that we can get an idea of this. In Punlanga and Napumsakalinga, it's going to decline as a ending. In Strilinga, you get this a ending. It's like Ganga Pat. Okay. The Vigraha Vakya I'll show you after we see Tavya and Aniya, okay? All right. So let's see Tavya, okay? Notice how it says Tavyat or Tavya. There is no difference really, okay? The only difference is between the intonation, meaning that there was different swaras when Panini put them in the text. So those probably originally had some meaning to them, why there's different swaras, but we've lost the swaras over time. We use both the same way. Can you hear me okay, by the way? Yeah, okay. So both pratyas are suffixed to any dhatu, okay? Why we have to say that is because when we were talking about the yakara ones, each of those three pratyas were only able to be suffixed to particular dhatus. Okay, there's very particular rules which we did not see, but there's very specific detailed rules about which can be applied for which specific dhatus. The main point of those three is that the content is yakara. So if you don't, that was the main, okay? But here, Tavya can be suffixed to any dhatu. Okay. And it says, as long as the form is seen in the Shastra, as in, our task is to be looking at the scripture and seeing what are the forms that are there, right? But really, we can add it to any dhatu. So that's the point. Okay. So for example, to make a word whose meaning is an object of which has to be done, right? So Kṛdatu, which means to do, and I'm suffixing Tavya, right? Tavya suffix to Kṛ, to do. By the addition of this suffix, Tavya, Kṛ is now suffixed to be an anga. Do we remember that? When the dhatu is followed by something after it, that dhatu is now called an anga. It's just a special status. Okay. When it becomes an anga, things like guna or riddhi can happen depending on specific rules. Okay, here with Tavya, guna can take place in the anga. Okay, meaning that here I've Kṛ, it ends with R, and it becomes ar, right? The guna letter is a, and then this refa follows, ar. Okay. If it was u, you would get o. If it was e, you would get a. There are some exceptions to the guna, we'll see that, but mostly times you will get guna. Okay, so Kṛ, Kar plus Tavya. Now that's it. We just add it together, it becomes Kṛta Tavya. Okay, these are the same things. Just notice how the refa changes its shape. Okay, it goes on top. So Kṛta Tavya. Now, being a Kṛdanta, being that which ends with Krit Pratyaya, this is qualified to be a Pratipadika now. Now we can decline it. We have to decline it based on what it's qualifying. Okay, so for example, Karma Kartavya. Okay, then it'll be Kartavyam because karma is Napumsakalinga. So Karma Kartavyam, one would be Kartavyam. Like Palam. Okay, the next one is what we call Aniya, Aniyar. The full is Aniyar. The content is Aniya. The refa, this rakara, is the it letter, meaning it's going to go away, right? Aniyar, just like the Tavya, is suffixed to any dhatu. Okay. For example, to make a word whose meaning is an object which has to be done. So same thing, right? We're making, just like we saw Kartavya, that had the meaning one whose object has to be done. Okay. Remember, we're talking about an object because it's karmani, meaning we're pointing to an object. It's an object. And then the additional meaning is has to be done or fit to be done or capable to be done. So for Kartavya or Karaniya mean that object which has to be done. So if I say karma kartavyam or karma karaniya, it's that karma or, yeah, it's that karma which has to be done. Ironically, the karma, yeah, okay, I won't confuse you, but you got what I'm saying. Karma has two meanings, but here we mean action. Karma kartavya. Okay, Kṛ plus Aniyar. So Aniyar, one of the Kritya Pratyaya is suffix. By the addition, Kṛ is qualified to be an anga. This refa, rakara of Aniyar is it letter, and hence it is removed. Guna can take place in the anga. So same as what we saw in Tavya. So Kṛ becomes Kar. And then we just add them together. Okay, so Kṛ, Kar plus Aniya becomes Karaniya. The akara didn't go, it didn't disappear. It's there inside of there, okay? Notice how you have the halanta there, but now we don't have the halanta because we add the akara. So Karaniya, this nakara becomes Murdhanya nakara, because there's a sandhi rule. When that nakara is preceded by ra or sha, then it becomes murdhanya. So karaniya, being kṛdanta, is qualified to be a pratipadika. Harprasad ji, did you have a question there? Yeah. Oh.
I believe it is not murdhanya, it is natva.
Yeah. It's called natva sandhi. Murdhanya means it's the nakara becomes murdhanya nakara, is what I mean. The tongue should go up.
Okay. Mahodaya, one more question. How did crew how did crew plus aniyar, the ra, what happened to ra at the end?
Yeah, so here, right, the guna takes place. So this r becomes ar.
Yeah, that I understood.
Okay, so now it's kar plus aniya.
Yeah, that I understood.
Now we just add it together. So karaniya.
Yeah, but my question is the first one, number one, crew plus aniyar.
Oh, what happened to this?
Yes.
Because the ra, refa of aniyar, it's an it letter. It's always going to go away. That last rakara is always going to go away.
So the it letter is not standard. It differs from how is it letter? I know about the it letter in Maheshwara Sutrani and in also in the noun forms, various noun forms, but there are many it letters, is it?
Yeah, there are standard rules. We will come back to that. How do you know what is the it letter? There are a set of standard rules.
Okay.
The rules will take some time to go through, so that's why we're bypass them for now.
Okay.
But really, yeah. So, but it can be. So you have to each pratyaya will likely have a different it letter.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that's why in the first one, those yakara, there was 3 different pratyas. They all had different it letters, but finally you got yakara at the end.
Correct. Okay. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Dhanyawada.
But in the book, if you want to look at the beginning, there is a section on what are the rules for it letters. Like, how do we know what is the it letter? We will come back to that at some point.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, so here are some more examples of these tavya or tavyat aniyar words, which we see often. It's very ambitious often. It's only if you read Sanskrit texts that you see this often, but being Vedanta students, you may see these, okay? So notice there's some sandhi rules that take place, okay? So we'll see that. So for example, gam, to go, becomes gantavya. The makara becomes nakara. So gantavya. Or gam plus aniya just goes together, gamaniya. Okay. Chint plus aniya, chintaniya. Notice how there's no tavya in this one, because we don't often see that in Shastra. That's why that was added earlier. It's not really seen in Shastra where you chintavya. Okay, you see more chintaniya. But if you were writing a sentence, you said chintavya, no one would fault you for that, right? If you didn't know that, that doesn't matter. Nya plus tavya, nya tavya. So notice, okay, so think of, I know we have the meaning there, but without looking at the meaning, you know, nya and tavya. So the object of which should be known. or object of that which is fit to be known, or the object of that which is capable to be known, right? So Brahma Nyatavya, that which should be known. It's the object of that which, it's the object of that which should be known. Sorry, it's the object of, it's that which should be known. It's the object of knowing. Doesn't fit well in that English translation, but that which should be known, the object which should be known. Tyaj plus Tavya, again, you see a little sandhi change. It becomes Ja, becomes Kakara. So it becomes Tyaktavya. I don't want to go too involved in the sandhi rules. We can just see these. It's straight sandhi rules, though. It's pretty standard words, adding them together. Tyaj plus Aniya, Tyajaniya, that which should be given up. Da plus Tavya, Datavya. Drashtavya, Darshaniya. Okay, now we're going to start seeing this guna take place, right? Shru plus Tavya, Shrotavya. Shrotavya or Shravaniya. The question, I'll get to the question when we see the sentence. You'll see some examples of what it should be, yeah? Mantavya, mananiya, object which to be thought of. Nidhyas tavya, nididhyasitavya. Nididhyasitavya. You notice you get an extra ikara in there? Yeah. Nididhyasitavya. Get that here. So notice, okay. For example, jignyasa, that itself, we've seen this. Okay. Nya dhatu plus san pratyaya. Sanadhyanta dhatu. Right? So jignyasa, that san pratyaya leads to duplication, but also gives the meaning to desire to know, or to desire something. Sorry, to desire. So jignyasa. So this itself is a sanadhyanta dhatu. Now I can add, because it's a dhatu, I can add a kṛdanta afterwards. So vijignasitavya, the object of desire to be known, to know. Object of desire to know. Okay, so it's not that which should be known, it's that which should be desired to be known. You see that there's a step in between. It's not should be known already, you should at least desire to be known, to know it. Right? So you see the levels of meaning that are there. So this is how you start seeing these formations, and you can start pulling apart what is the exact meaning of these words. Okay. I'm not going to read the rest of them, they're all there, right? But some examples we see from Shastra, Brahmaiva tena gantavyam. Have you heard that? Yeah, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi, right? That shloka that we say before eating, Brahmaiva tena gantavyam. So gantavya means that which should be reached. What should be reached? Brahma eva. Brahma alone should be reached. Tena, by that karma samadhina. Okay. Atma va are drashtavyah, shrotavyah, mantavyah, nididhyasitavyah. So this is how we get the words Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. This is the original Brihadaranyaka Upanishad where we get these three words together. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. But here it's actually in the Tavya form, Shrotavyah. That Atma should be listened to. It should be thought of. Mantavya, mandatu, to think. Nidya, to contemplate upon. So nididhyasitavya, Atma should be contemplated upon. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam chavikarmanaha. So we haven't seen fourth chapter, but this comes there. Bodhavyam. So if we look at buddhatu, buddh, to know, tavya, you get guna, bodhavya, that object to be known. Object to be known. So, karmanaha hi api bodhavyam chavikarmanaha. So karma should be known. Other than karma should be known as well. There's a very specific meaning there. Okay, let's look at some more sentences. These are sentences that will be helpful to us. We can look at sentence 1 and we'll look at sentence 5. I just chose these two because I thought they'll show different things. So sentence 1, idam karma kartavyam maya. Okay, so why don't you say the sentence first, right? Idam karma kartavyam maya. Yeah, so you have to say it like you're a scholar. Okay, idam karma kartavyam maya. Okay. Now, yeah, I'll point this out. Okay. First thing we always look for in a sentence is we look for the tingantam padam, right? The tinganta. Is there a tingantam in the sentence? There's no technical tinganta. Okay, these are all pratipadikas. I mean, they're all subantas, rather. They're all subantas. They're all nouns. So we can add a bhavati or asti, okay? We can always add that. And then, now the second layer is you usually want to find verb-like words. Okay, now Kṛdanta, now we can say, instead of verb-like, I used to say verb-like, now we can use the word Kṛdanta, Krit ending, okay? Now, do you see the Kṛdanta in the sentence? Yeah, I hope so. Idam karma kartavya, tavya, okay, tavya, that should give you a little familiar. Okay, so this is my Kṛdanta word, okay? So this is a subantam padam, pratipadika, right? These are all ending in masculine and napumsaka, so pratipadika will be kartavya. Just akara like phala, stup pratyaya, this can be like phalam, phale phalani, phalam phale phalani. This can be 1-1 or 2-1 if it's napumsakalinga. I gave a clue on the gender. So this is akaranta. Why am I saying it's napumsakalinga? Kartavyam. It can be 2-1 masculine also, just so we know. I'm saying it's napumsakalinga. What is it qualifying? What is kartavyam? What should be done? What should be done is the word karma, right? Action should be done. This, yeah, karma thing. Put it in the chat. Yeah. Karma should be done. Karma is just like the word Brahma in that it's, oh, I can't make it any bigger than that. Sorry, it's unending napumsakalinga. So karma, karmani, karmani. Karma, karmani, karmani. Karmana, karmabhyam, karmabhihi. Karmane, karmabhyam, karmabhyah. Karmanaha, karmabhyam, karmabhyah. Karmanaha, karmanoho, karmanam, karmani, karmanoho, karmasu. He karman, he karmani, he karmani. You can do it along with me. I was going fast. The whole point is that it's Napumsaka Linga, just like Brahma Shabda, okay? So Kartavyam is also going to be Napumsaka Linga. It qualifies it, meaning what is should be done. Okay. So this is a ending Napumsaka Linga, Kartavya Shabda, Supratya 1-1 or 2-1, right? We still it can be either one. Vibhaktyartaha. So we're going to say we don't have a verb to justify. So because it's bhavati, this is going to be prathama vibhakti, right? It's not the object of bhavati. There's no verb to justify second case. I know it's confusing because this is a karmani type word, okay? But it's going, this is in first case, kartavyam. Something should be done. Okay. What should be done? Idam karma. Karma, so it's sorry. Anta napumsaka linga karma shabda. This is prathama vibhakti ekavachanam. And this is samanadikaranam with kartavyam. Okay, so that's a very important point. When you have the object of this word, it's going to be in samanadikaranam. So the word it goes with is going to be in the same case as the word it is. Okay, so that's why it's a little different than a verb. Here as a noun is going to be in the same case as the word's qualifying and same gender as well. So karma, kartavyam, they're both in the first case. Karma should be done. Okay, karma should be done. This karma technically is karma, it's karmani prathama to kartavyam. Okay. The karma, the word is karmani prathama. So it's a first case in the sense of karma, object of the word kartavyam. Okay, just like how we have in the verb, we have karmani verbs. The first case will be first case karma, right? Karmani, prathama, karmani. Same here. This first case is karmani prathama to kartavyam. Okay, so now we're adding levels of complexity. Do you see to the sentences? So idam karma kartavyam. Idam is idam shabda napumsaka linga prathama vibhakti ekavachanam. This is also karmani prathama to kartavyam. These are all three in samanadikaranam. Idam karma, this karma should be done. Now, one important thing, we only have a minute left that I want to point out. You have the word maya. Maya is asmad shabda. Third case, singular. Maya, by me. This should be done by me. Okay. Now, note that the karta of the action, the karta, the doer, should take third case. Okay, just like if you have a karmani verb, the karta will take third case. It can also take sixth case. This happens. Okay, third or sixth. We're more familiar with third, I know, but sometimes occasionally you see it in the sixth case as well. Right. So just as the ting pratyaya denotes karma and bhave in karmani prayoga, this karta here is also expressed in tritiya vibhakti. Kartari tritiya. Optionally, that karta is expressed in shashti. So this action should be done by me. So who's the karta? I am the karta. This is kartari tritiya to kartavya. So one other, so we don't have much time. We're wrapping up right now. I just wanted to point out this sentence in our next class. You see that here the word neya, we'll just point it out that acharya upadishati, the teacher teaches. What is the object of teaching? Neyam Brahma. Neyam Brahma. So Neyam Brahma, these both words are in the second case. Okay, so it's not that the word has to be in the first case or anything like that. It depends on how it's connected to the verb. Here, Acharya is teaching that which should be known. So Neyam is karmani ditya to upadishati. I can add another word. Instead of shishebya, let's say I add the word maya. Acharya teaches that which should be known to me. That doesn't work as well. Let's just see the sentence as it is, right? So Acharya teaches Neyam Brahma. These are going to be in Samadhanadikaranam, both Tritiya Vibhakti, right? Teaches what? Brahma, which should be known. Shishyebhyaha. Now, this is interesting. The Acharya teaches to the Shishyas. So this is technically Sampradane Chaturthi. So the recipient of teaching is also in the fourth case. So 4-3. Okay. We can look at this sentence more in detail in the next class. And we can see one more sentence before we go on to the next section. The next section will be Kṛdanta, that instead of denoting karma, they can denote karta. So we're going to see kartari Kṛdantas in our next class. Yeah. So let's end here, and then I can look at the Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om. So there was a question, how can it be Samanadikaranam if it's also Karmani Prathama? Yeah, so both can be true, by the way. Both can be true, that it can be Samanadikaranam, it can also be Karma. So these two words are Samanadikaranam, meaning that they're in the same case, right? And they're pointing to the same object. Karma and that which should be done are both referring to one and the same thing. So there's Samanadikaranam. Now, this is Karmani Prathama, this is not Karmani Prathama. So the meaning of the Prathama doesn't need to be the same. So they can both be in samanadhikaranam, meaning the same case and they're pointing to the same thing, but the meaning of the prathama does not need to be the same. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, we do need to end here because we need to switch classes. So let me stop the recording.